style is one of the most talked about topics in the art YouTube, and when I got back to art a couple years ago, I also was obsessed about it. When in reality, I actually needed some skills. For the past 2 years, I've been studying art very seriously, and I stopped worrying about it until recently, and almost by accident, an art challenge allowed me to find what I love again and bring everything together: the skill, the style, my personal taste, and spark the idea for my biggest art project yet. I can define two different ideas of what style is. It can be a crafted style or what I would call a personal style. A crafted style is basically something that's much easier to do if you have solid drawing skills, if you have a strong understanding of what are the different components of an image, of a drawing, of a painting, whatever your medium is, and you are able to really define what makes the image and make decisions. A crafted style is like world building for me. It's you saying, in my world, things look like this, and when they go further away, they look more like this, and you are able to craft it, to define every parameter and to almost write for yourself some guidelines, and that's your style. It's like your graphic identity, and you can just make it up. With enough skill, that is. The second one, a personal style, is partly crafted, I would say. It is not something that is in you and that you have no power over, but it is also more true to who you are as an artist. It is something that is going to evolve with you, and it is the consequence of your skill and also your personal taste, all of your experiences, and it has something to do with you as a human being. It is kind of like your handwriting. We all learn to write with the same alphabet, or sometimes slightly different alphabets, but if you give 100 kids the same alphabet to practice, not 2 are going to come up with the same. And it is the same with your personal style. So there are individual variations, your skill level and your personal taste, which is the part that you can craft, that you can decide one day that you saw something from an artist that you really like and you decide to bring it into your own personal style, and that's how your style is also going to evolve with you. A crafted style, to some extent, is something that you can take from another artist. You can get this set of rules about what the style is. Colors are going to be mostly orange, things that go away are going to fade into blue, and lines are going to have this weight. You can take this set of rules from an artist and you can just take this style and work in this style. But if you don't have the training this artist has, if you don't have the deep understanding of why they are making these choices, if you don't have that as well, it is always going to be hollow and superficial, because you are just imitating something without having the fundamentals that make it hold together. That's always going to be visible, I think, and that's the reason why I didn't chase style for very long when I got back to art, because I thought it was going to solve my problems, but really when I tried to find stylistic elements in artists that I liked and tried to take courses about style that were giving me these kinds of advice, I noticed that something was missing, that I was always going to be limited, and that's the reason why. Because I am more after a personal style than a crafted style, and something that is going to feel true and to feel mine, and for which I can say for every line that I make, it is this way for this reason, and not just because I saw that it looks cool to make just big eyes or whatever. Because I was after this, I knew that what I needed were fundamentals, and that's the reason why I stopped chasing style for itself and I decided to focus on art skills instead. Which led me to another problem, because I studied so hard and I focused on skill so hard that for a year and a half, almost 2 years, the vast majority of what I was doing assignments, and every time I took a class, I was almost ignoring everything I had learned in art previously and putting it aside and really focusing on what the instructor was teaching me and trying to take in as much as I possibly could. This idea that you can't fill a cup that is already full. I basically emptied my cup every time and filled it with what the instructor, the master I was studying under, was teaching me. Which is, I believe, a good way to learn and a good way to take as much as you possibly can. But because of this, in my personal practice, the very little personal practice that I've had during this period of time, I never felt like myself. I was using tools that I had learned in assignments, in lessons, and I didn't really know what to draw for a long time. I didn't have an intention. I had taste, but I didn't know how to do it. I was kind of lost. This isn't to tell you don't make the same mistake that I did, because that would be pretty simplistic and I don't think it was necessarily a mistake. Maybe it is just a necessary part of the journey. If you really want to learn, if you really want to get the skills that are necessary to build a true strong style, you need to be willing to put aside what you think you know and what were previously the elements of your style in order to take in as much true instruction as possible, and you have to lose part of yourself in order to improve. And I'm glad that I did it this way and that I didn't lose faith in the fact that at some point it was going to come together, it was going to result in me finding something that I really love to draw, that I really want to draw, that really feels mine, and where I can bring some crafted style elements, but in a way that is true to what I want to represent and not just an imitation, and be able, because of this, to elevate something. And that happened when I wasn't expecting it. It was the next step of my progression, but yeah, not something I knew was going to happen when I joined a 100 days challenge of Master Studies in November. A 100 days challenge is just what it is. You do something for 100 days. And Master Studies, if you're not familiar with the concept, it is a drawing exercise or a painting exercise or, an art exercise where you make a copy or a study from a master artwork in order to learn from it. It is just an exercise, also sometimes a way to make some nice things to put on the wall, but what you want is to basically learn something from an artwork. So it can be a formal copy where you try to really match the technique and really go one-to-one from the artwork to your copy to make it as close to the original as you possibly can, while also trying to use similar techniques in order to put yourself in the shoes of the master who drew this artwork. Or it can be a less involved study where you, for example, look at the value pattern of a painting, or you look at the gesture of the painting, and it doesn't have to be a full copy. It can be very simple, it can be very involved, but that's basically what a master study is. This challenge for me wasn't necessarily a way to find my style. I didn't know that it was going to lead me to the art project that I am working on right now. This happened on the New Masters Academy Discord server. Dylan started this challenge and a lot of students joined, and the reason I joined wasn't to find my style, it was because I wanted to use the peer pressure and the opportunity of the challenge as a way to draw more frequently and to get into the habit of drawing daily, which I wasn't doing at the time. And also all of the cool kids were doing it and I didn't want to miss out. That's just why I joined the challenge. But as I was putting together references for this challenge, because I wanted to be ready, I didn't want to have to find something to draw every day. I wanted to have it, ready to go and just have to pick an image and start working in the morning. As I was putting this together, I realized that it would be a great opportunity to do a project that I had put aside a year before that, I think. That was to copy plates from a book called Nature, Drawing and Design by Frank Steele. The funny thing is that I had discovered this book, I believe in 2022, in one of the short moments where I tried to get back to art and it didn't really happen. I took a class on Skillshare that was about drawing Art Nouveau designs on your iPad, and in the class, the instructor was sharing this book as well as La plante et ses applications ornementales by Eugène Grasset, who is Swiss, and I don't know the title of the book in English, but basically she was sharing these two books as resources of how to draw in an Art Nouveau style, and this book, Nature, Drawing and Design, is basically a drawing manual for decorative drawing students who want to use plants as their subject matter and how to use plants in a decorative way. So you have plates of the plants drawn in a naturalistic manner, a realistic, if you want, way of representing the plant. And then you have a plate with the same plant but in a stylized Art Nouveau version. And this is meant for you to practice, to copy, to understand how the stylization work and to compare the naturalistic view, the ornamental view, the geometric principles that make it all work and for you to draw your own designs. So I decided to use the challenge to get back to this. And I started copying these plates again, but bringing all of the techniques that I had been learning and taking a lot of notes, like really a lot of notes on everything I was noticing. Some of you were asking about what are these plates that I am copying, and that's what it is. But if you're curious and you would like to see exactly how I tackle a copy of one of these plates in order to get the most accurate copy and also learn as much as I can from it and what tools I am using, what kind of thinking goes behind it, I recorded the full process of 2 of these plates, one naturalistic plate and one ornamental plate, and these are very long, detailed videos. This is part of a collection of full drawing process videos that I've been recording since the month of November. That should come out very soon, so if you want to know about this, you should definitely subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the description below, and I am also planning on a special offer for newsletter subscribers. So yeah, good time to subscribe. I copied 12 plates from the book during this challenge, and by the sheer amount of work that this represents, when I started I think I was expecting to spend something like 3 hours on every plate, and it ended up taking more between 4 and 6 hours per plate to make as good of a copy as I can with the graphite drawing and the inking. It is just a lot of work. So by just the amount of practice that I got, I learned a lot. My line quality improved, my inking improved, I got a lot more familiar both with the geometrical method that I was using to copy the plates and the tools that I was using, so my compass, my ruling pen, my dip pen as well, my inks, the paper I am using. And because I was taking a lot of notes, not only about what I was noticing and how it related to principles I had been studying, like how the curves were varied and similar at the same time, and the gesture and all of this, but also what made it look beautiful to me, why I liked it, and how I could use it in my own designs as well. Because I was taking so much notes, I built myself like a treasury of notes that I can use in my own things as well. But my biggest takeaway from the challenge was rediscovering how much I love this, and how, despite the amount of work that it was, how much pleasure I took out of making these curves, making these lines just right. I really rediscovered my passion after so much time studying and drawing subject matter that I don't necessarily love, but finding still some joy in it, but that was not what I love the most. I realized that's something that I can see myself doing for a very long time. This is why I want to be an artist. This is what I want to practice. And I think this is what you want your art practice to bring you. This Master Studies challenge, in a way that I couldn't have planned, inspired the piece that I drew at the end of 2024, Pazienza at Labore, and it also sparked another idea for me. I started working on my own calendar project, so right now I am making designs using flowers and birds and everything I have learned both in the Art Nouveau style with this challenge, and also bringing all of the skill that I've been working for in the past 2 years in making the most beautiful thing I possibly can. And it is a project that I am extremely excited about, and I am also recording a lot of the process. I shared glimpses of it in my latest art vlog, so definitely check it out if you're curious about what a week in the life of someone who is studying art and trying to build an art business can look like. I will leave a link right now. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter if you want to be informed about these full process videos that are coming out very soon. Stay creative, and I will see you in the next one.